I'll just follow up with what Roy said. I think what Alliance of Genocide Victim Communities have done is very remarkable. Uh, I remember reading about Hazara's struggle from Khalid Hosseini's kite runner and the Thousand Splendid Suns many years ago. But I never imagined that one day I would be, I think, collaborating with the Hazara community. I did know a little bit about Tamil struggle, being raised in South Asia, but I didn't really know much about Tigrayan struggle, Uyghur struggle, although, we shared the same enemy. I didn't really know much about the Rwandan struggle. So I'm really glad that, different oppressed community are brought together with the leadership, strong leadership from John Ivey, and everyone involved in this team, including ethics. Regarding Tibet, I think within this really limited time, I would start with the 2008, which is when the Beijing had the opportunity to host the Summer Olympic, and it was also a time for China to show to the rest of the world that they have arrived as a major superpower. But it also meant kind of opportunity for Tibetans and Uyghurs and Mongolians and other nations from China to show to the rest of the world, because usually these regions in China are very isolated and the international community doesn't have much access to know much about the ground reality inside the PRC. So that Beijing Olympic, I think, opened up kind of a unprecedented access to what's happening within the PRC. So Tibetans took that as an opportunity to stage a nationwide protest, actually, which has not happened since, I think, 1989. So, thousands of Tibetan protested, took on the street in the streets of capital Lhasa, from other Tibetan regions. It resulted into arrest, some resulting into death, and some of them managed to escape, including to Canada. A friend of mine who got shot through the hand and a back, who now lives in Toronto. But what happened after that was the protest didn't stop after 2008. I think it also inspired, resulted into a nationwide protest in the East Turkestan in the next year in 2009. So it actually resulted. One would think that because there was a nationwide protest, there would be more kind of a leniency from the PRC, but what it actually ended up happening exact opposite. So the PRC actually policy became more aggressive, which forced many Tibetans, including 164 Tibetans since then, to burn themselves alive in the form of self-immolation. So that's one aspect of what happened to Tibetans since 2008. The Tibetan identity, including Tibetan language, culture, religions, have been under attack for a long time, of course, since the PRC arrival in Tibet in 1949, and since the escape of Dalai Lama to exile in 1959. One of the single biggest challenges that we're dealing with currently is China's interference in the reincarnation of Dalai Lama. And this is so important because they're claiming that they have the right to appoint the next Dalai Lama. And the current Dalai Lama is seen as a single unifying figure in Tibetan freedom movement. He's not only a spiritual and a political leader, but a very important leader who unified the whole nation. Now, as he is 90 years old, will be 90 years old this July, China is really waiting for this as a chance to appoint their own Dalai Lama and build a whole different narrative in the Tibetan freedom movement. They know that once Dalai Lama is no longer there, the freedom movement can be easily broken down. That's what they think. But we, as a, I'm here with my colleague, chair of our board, Sampit Halumpa here. We, as a member of Canada Tibet Committee, we advocate for all these issues, including, for Canada's support in the challenging China's claim over the succession of Dalai Lama, which we take it as interference in the religious freedom of the Tibetan people. Very recently, on December 22nd, along with 18 other Canadians, 2 of us were sanctioned by the PRC government. They labeled us as a threat to China's national security, safety, and development interest. So this is the current situation. In terms of what we have been advocating in Canada, last year, Canada Parliament passed a motion declaring Tibetan as a nation and people with the rights to self-determination, which was again kind of targeted to counter this China's growing interference in the process of identifying the religious leader for Tibetan people. You might have heard about the forced separation of close to 1 million Tibetan children from their parents, put into a boarding school and forced into indoctrination of communist ideology. This is, of course, targeted to wipe out the Tibetan identity for generations. There are Tibetan nomads, close to 1 million, being forcibly evicted from their traditional lands, and many of them are forced to live in the border area, which is a different issue, which I think is outside of the scope of discussion today. I'll stop here. Thank you.